everybody. This is Desiree, and today is a journal flip day. I'm going to be going through the Hobonichi Cousin Avec pages for July. And I thought today I would include which inks I used on which page. Most of the pages were written in different inks. So I will try to remember, go through and include those in my description of the pages. So yeah, so it's a little cooler today. I'm really happy about that. So join me for a quick flip. Thanks. Okay, so this is July, and it starts on Friday the 1st, and I was just talking a little bit about some yarns that I ordered for this CDC corner to corner Afghan that I'm working on. Most of the yarn that I'm using, most of those are all scrap yarns, little balls of things that were leftovers. But I did order a couple larger skeins of some of the solid colors that I just really like to put in throughout the Afghans. So those are a couple of the yarns that I ordered. And that's where I ordered those from. So I just put that label there so I'd remember. And this is inked up with Ruby Blues. And it's probably pretty dark. But anyway, it's a Diamine Inkvent sheen. And it was part of the selections for the Inkvent 2021. And then they bring them out in bottles, and this was a favorite, so I ordered that one. So that was that. Then that Saturday, I was just talking a little bit about an eggplant dish that I was trying out for the first time. I'm like really into eggplant these days. And it's so funny because as a child, I think a lot of kids don't like eggplant, and I'm not sure what happens, but it has really grown on me, and I really like it in different ethnic recipes. So I was talking about that. And the inside ink, there is the Erban Vert Olive, the lighter green. The outside, I'm not sure what I was doing, but it looks like it was kind of a mix of a brown and probably this Rohrer and Klinger Alt Goldgrün. This washi tape, by the way, I really like. I got a lot of new washi tapes from the Japanese bookstore. And I think I ordered some online too, but down in Seattle, there's a Kino Kuniya, I think is the name of it, and it is a bookstore that's attached to the huge Wajimaya Asian restaurant. Store, food store. So I think that's that. And I was playing with some different watercolor paints there, but I also was using this Diamine Steel Blue for the writing. So that's what that is. And just kind of in a desert Southwest mode there, I guess. Okay, so I was just talking about our dog who had to go to the vet, and they found this, he had a bunch of mats. It's really hard to get him out. So they actually shaved them off because I don't have a groomer. It's me that is trying to do all of his grooming. So I think the vet was like scolding me a little bit for letting him get those those bigger mats. So anyway, I've been trying to be a little bit more diligent about that. But this is also written in Ruby Blues. You're going to see a lot of Ruby Blues throughout because I'm really enjoying that ink. So Wednesday, I guess I'm just reading this, but I finally made it swimming. I try to go swimming 2 to 3 times a week, and I'm not sure. There was just a lot of stuff going on with appointments and things, so I'm just talking about that. Finally made it there. This is also washi tape that I got at that bookstore. And as you have noticed, and as you'll see as we go along, I love doing these little teacup things, watercolor teacups. That's like my favorite kind of go-to thing to sketch in the Hobonichi. And I really liked the way this came out because I love, you know, the whole thing about watercolors. I love the melding, the blending of different colors. And sometimes it's really surprising. And I just really liked how that came out. So I do a lot of watercolor too. This is my my go-to watercolor palette. I've got other ones, but this has a lot of colors that I just, you know, really like to use together. So, so that's fun too. So, all right. I'm just talking about the day. Nothing too important. My son and I went to this Thai place. He says Juanitas, I think it's Juanitas, but I'm not sure. They have really good food. Very kind of a hole in the wall, you know, just small place. I don't think there's any seating in there, but really authentic, and it was really good. And he ordered something that I don't usually order with the side of the peanut sauce, and it was incredible. It was not the typical. Sorry about that interruption from Oscar, as usual. Anyway, it was really good food. I'm not sure why I included this, but this is a Conti drawing that my aunt made long ago. And I really loved this because it really had the flavor of our homestead up in the mountains above Boulder, above Jamestown. And yeah, and I print out a bunch of different things on my little Sprocket, HP Sprocket printer, and just have them available as I go along. So, so this one actually, I think that's also Ruby Blues. It just looks a little lighter because of the background has gesso on it. So Friday, I actually had something previously written in there, and then I was playing around again with some more gesso and a little bit of gold shimmer. So I kind of, you know, you can't really see the writing anymore, but I just kind of liked how that the shimmer and the, you know, the melty purple background looked in there. So I just left it. I didn't write over it. Oh, and actually this I think is I think this is the Black Swan in Australian Roses, this part. So yeah, here's another washi tape that I got there. Here's another. I've been using a lot of new washi tapes. So we're going to be going to a very cushy yurt for a little vacation next week. And I was trying to make reservations, and it got a little complicated. Things got a little messed up because we tried to add a day or add a night to that, so they had to keep redoing it. But anyway, it's all settled, and I just hope that it's not really hot. I'm sure it doesn't have air conditioning in the yurt. We don't have air conditioning here either. And I think they just have a ceiling fan, so I'm just hoping that it's not, you know, the way it was this week as I'm recording. Finally, today's a little bit cooler, so. So anyway, yeah, this, oh, let me see here. Okay, so this was actually inked up with this Kakimori ink. Yeah, I think it was called Zabun, if I remember right. It's a pigment ink, and so I think that's what that was. And this day was, you know, a big day. My son moved out, and he is living in Bellingham now, which is really great for him because he goes to Western Washington University, and he was commuting back and forth, which is, yeah, about a 35-minute commute, but it, you know, it's just a lot to add on in very busy days and coming back and forth all the time. And he works up there. He's got 2 jobs up there actually, plus school. So So he was really happy to have a room in a house with a few other roommates. So hopefully that works out really good. But we rented a U-Haul. There, you know, it wasn't tons of furniture or anything, but you know, he had a queen size bed and a bunch of desks and computer things and, you know, nightstand and that kind of thing. So yeah, and this is again Ruby Blues. So I maybe feel a little guilty about this, but I was really excited because I have his room now. He was so good about cleaning out his room, and I think he's fine with it. But he kept a few things in the closet. But in the meantime, I have now another big room to be able to kind of extend. So this room is more of the arts room. And I put my sewing machine in there and have some of the knitting and that kind of stuff in there. Maybe the music room. I started getting into playing the uke again. He kind of got me into that. And I'm relearning because I'm an old guitar player and just having this hard time, you know, with the chords. And I just decided to start over and just kind of look at those as their own instead of trying to transpose the chords. Anyway, long story short, I have another space for things, which is really nice. And the whole time that Luke was living here, he didn't like the dog to come into his room. He had all kinds of stuff on the floor. So I just took this picture because it was really funny. He was like, oh, good. You know, I can get on the bed now. He was happy. So this was, you know, it started to get into this heat wave around now, I think, but the days were still pretty cool and just really nice. All right, so that's better. Sorry about that. So I think you can see it now a little bit better. So that's steel blue that I was using before, and again the Ruby Blues. And this day I started washing out some of the pens, and you see those on my last currently inked part 2. But meanwhile, I was really enjoying using this Pelican Edelstein Golden Barrel. I had to order like 3 little sample bottles of it because they were out of stock when I ordered it. So I still have quite a bit left. But I just remembered how much I like using that for kind of special occasions. So that was that. And then the light green again is the Erban Vert Olive. And the darker green is the Rohrer and Klinger Altgut Goldgrün. And so that's what those are there. This day I just started ending up doing watercolor and doing a lot of blending with the sky and just kind of goofing around. So I really just left it. I didn't write anything down for that day. And this Friday, again, is Ruby Blues. And I'm showing a little bit more of how I'm using that room now with the crochet and the sewing and all that kind of stuff. And of course, I had to do another watercolor teacup. And yeah, that's Ruby Blues again. And this is Ruby Blues continued. I did a little bit of pastel, soft pastel in my sketchbook. We go on to our little vacation in the yurt. I'm really looking forward to, I'm going to take the pastels, sketchbook, watercolors, some things like that. Of course, some of my crafts and the uke. So anyway, that'll be kind of fun. So this day, I was just talking about the wonderful produce right now. You know, I love the produce in the summer. And so I was just thinking about that, and we had gotten some really good tomatoes. And actually, I forgot to get this sample out, but it was a sample of Noodler's Cayenne. And I thought that, you know, really went well with this Summer Bounty tomatoes. So it was just one of the samples that I got from my friend, like this one, Noodler's Cayenne. And this day, Just put a little hummingbird in there. Nothing much happening, I don't think, that day. This shimmer that I use sometimes, it's actually on several pages, and I think I used it for this cover page too. But I think I showed you this before. I had to order a couple more of these pens because the other ones finally ran out. But they were Nouveau shimmer gloss pens, and they have a brush tip, and you just squeeze it out, and it's a liquid glitter kind of shimmer thing. So I use that sometimes for some of the pages. Okay, and I was talking about the blackberry tea, which I'm drinking again today. Blackberry jasmine, and I was talking about that in my last YouTube, currently inked part 2. So that's that. And actually this is my Pilot Iroshizuku Shinkai, which is a really beautiful, deeper blue than the one that's coming up. And it's just a favorite, you know, beautiful blue. And I would say I use this quite a bit more than the Konpeki, which you're going to see in a second. It's just a really nice writing color. So that was that. And I think this was that around the top too. And then this one, this is written with the Ferris Wheel Press shimmer in the TWSBI Diamond 580. And and it has a really pretty color, you know, colorway when you wet it. And it's kind of surprising because it's a very dark, kind of, you know, midnight blue kind of thing, but then when you wet it, it really presents more with this little bit of teal kind of. So here's another nice summer day, and the writing here is with the Noodler's Salmon sample. For this part, and you can see that was written with a broad nib. And then I was writing, when I first started writing that, I was writing with an ink, the Sailor Shikiori Yosakura, which is kind of an evening cherry blossom color, which is really pretty, but I actually didn't use it very much for this this journal flip this month. But anyway, this is continued with the salmon, and again, this has some of the gesso. So this day I had some of these transparent stickers, which are kind of nice. And I used this shimmer violet purple, which is in my little what is that called? Moon Man. Actually, my little Moon Man eyedropper pen, which I forget about sometimes, but that's actually that color. And there's another teacup. And this is the Konpeki, Pilot Iroshizuku Konpeki. I think this is like the first ink that I ever bought, and yeah, and I use it. Actually, my spouse uses it. My husband uses it as his favorite ink, and I really like it. I like the color, but just to write with, I like a little bit darker inks. So I haven't been using it as much, but he's been filling up, and there's still, you know, a lot left in there. I have so many different inks, you know, that I really don't want to buy more right now. I just really want to use up what I've got. So that's that. And I just felt like I try to, you know, kind of go through and get a feel for a color that I want to use. I don't like to have the same color over and over. So I just wrote in there that I felt like I needed a little pink. And so that's what I had there. And this is that Ferris Wheel Press, again, Stroke of Midnight. I think this was the Noodler Salmon, again. And here I'm talking about, this is actually watercolor, the frame, but I'm talking about this new project now. I got these beautiful materials I ordered them, and they were part of a kit that is supposed to make some like squares. But I am like so interested now in this thing called English paper piecing, where you have a little paper template. I should go get one. I will go get one. I'll show you just. All right. So the technique is that you have all of these templates, and hexagons are very common and used a lot. But you can also have squares or whatever, and they need to be cut really precisely, like on a die cut, or you can order them already cut, which I did. And then you use those, and I had taken this one out. I wanted to see if it would work, but you do a basting stitch around with your fabric around the template, and then you just leave those in, and you put these pieces of fabric together. And I don't know if you can see, but I was practicing doing, I don't know if you can see that, doing the stitching. So you put them together like this, and then you do like a little whip stitch around. And then on this side, you don't really see the stitch, and they're sealed together beautifully. And actually you leave the templates in. I just took this one out because I wanted to try it. And these are just sample fabrics that I wanted to try. But meanwhile, I have all these really beautiful fabrics with really cool designs, and you just keep working and working. You baste a bunch of these templates, and then you start putting them together, and you can just make this huge, quilt. And you can, actually, I was thinking of maybe using this one as a wall hanging, but you can actually then put padding and then put it together as a quilt, with a quilt design sewn on the top if you choose to do that. So anyway, that is another project. And what's really nice is you can put a whole bunch of these together in a little box with a needle and thread, and you can just take them wherever, and work on them in patches. As you can see, no matter how many you have, they all fit together, so you can do a line of them or a clump of them or whatever. So they're great for traveling. Anyway, so I'm going to take some on our little trip. So that's what that was, and I'm really happy that I decided to use them for this English paper piecing instead of the traditional quilt kit that they came in, because I just really like this this method and technique. So this was this ink was the Black Swan in Australian Roses, the Noodlers that I had here and here. And I was just playing a little bit more washi tape, a little different color. Oh, and I forgot. Let me get that ink. All right. So this ink, as you can see in through here, this beautiful lavender is the Sailor Manyo Neko Yanagi. And this is the lavender purple ink with a just gorgeous sheen. So anyway, that's that. It's also, what's around this border. And yeah, just really beautiful ink. This is what I use it for more than writing. It's really light, but it's just gorgeous. So yeah, so we had another gorgeous day, but so hot. And I used the Diamine Steel Blue there. And I used the Shinkai, and the Kakimori was this one. And I'm just talking about, we planted for years I've just really been into planting artichokes, and I had one beautiful artichoke, and about 4 to 5 years after you plant it, that's when they come out these great big globes. Well, it died. They only, if it gets too cold, and usually around here it's not that cold, but every once in a while in the winter it might hit -20, or I mean, not -20, 20 Fahrenheit, and or 17 or whatever, and it died. So I got a new one that's growing really well. It's, it's quite tall, and it has all these little artichokes. But last year I noticed they didn't really get that big, and we tried cooking them and they were very tough and fibrous. But I started looking at them, and they, the shape and the way that they grow is not like an artichoke that you eat. So next year I'm going to have to get a different plant if we want some to eat, and I'm going to have to start over. But this year I'm just enjoying, there are probably 20 our little artichokes on there, and they're all blooming right now. So anyway, all right, and so I think this is also, again, the Black Swan in Australian Roses color. And I was just talking about feeling lighter. So anyway, I was just noting that. And then Saturday I had a really nice day in Bellingham with friends. And so here's an old sticker that I had printed out, some other washi tapes. And this is, I'm pretty sure that this is also the Shinkai ink. And yeah, and then the 31st was yesterday, and I just, had a very laid back day. So anyway, I want to do a bunch of prepping on these little things to get ready to take them on the trip. I need to plan and to buy the food that we want, because there's a full kitchen there, but they recommend getting all your food and bringing it, because the small store that is like 12 miles away from the place that we're staying is really expensive, and it doesn't have a lot of stuff. So that's the plan for this week, and I will continue. And here's the beginning of my August journal in this Hobonichi. And again, I'm happy to be back in this in terms of the size. I really like it a lot. So I will probably be doing some more ink swatching in color groups, because I haven't done that for a while. So I might do, all blues or all purples or something like that coming up here in a while. So thanks for joining me. If you liked the video, like and subscribe, and I will see you in a week or two. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.